welcome to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. This is the program where we bring you the latest news, information, insightful discussions, and everything you need to get your day started. I am Gbenga Aboroa. Bonjour.
You stole my bonjour line. I wanted to steal your bonjour line. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Bonjour, Ekabo. In Akwana, is it the Elsa way of saying? Welcome to Breakfast Central. For the next 3 hours, we're taking you around the country, looking at some of the biggest stories, exploring the political angles that you have been thinking about and asking and probing deeper into some of the stories you probably have been following, and even the ones that you're only just getting to find out about. For example, the story of Monday Joseph, which you will get to hear more in depth as we proceed with today's show. You're welcome.
Most definitely. I am Johansson saying welcome again. I mean, if they told you welcome, then you know that it's definitely a beautiful welcome. So we're saying welcome on a brighter note because it's the brightest breakfast show on television. And need I say this? Did you guys hear of what happened to a certain Nigerian artist who kind of like in quotes defamed another artist, a senior colleague?
Is it Abib?
Oh, Kiki.
Yeah, I don't know what's that guy's name.
Joyce.
Okay, yeah.
Joyce is from where now?
So Joyce is Instagram handle. The name, I don't know why he didn't change it. Maybe it was the owner of the handle, but it's Joyce something. So people have started calling him Joyce. The contradiction doesn't go with the personality. Yeah, and it reminded me of what some people have termed as extraordinary rendition that happened to Dele Farotimi. Legally, I need to understand the jurisdiction issues. How does somebody commit an offense and then you ship the person all over hundreds of kilometers to another state? How does it happen? Is that the story we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I've been.
Yes.
Otherwise known as
AKA
Cow of Africa. AKA Ilorin.
What does that mean?
Madman of music.
You know, speaking of madman of music, people there started to make a comparison between Portable and Terry G. And I even took the tweet. I think I took a screenshot. Unfortunately, I couldn't send it to our team. But in the screenshot, he said that comparing Portable, he said, comparing me to Portable is disrespectful because I have music people listen to 10 years later. Do you agree?
That's true.
They'll
That's
still
true.
listen to Portable 10 years. I mean, he does. He reminds me of old Nollywood that will release 100 movies in 1 week, but you have 1 or 2 good ones. He has 2 or 3.
E.g.
Big Smoke, Plateau, Tony Montana.
Bigger.
It's called Wake Up Conversation.
I know we're trying to wake up.
Yes.
So let me vibe a bit, but
Let's give respect to whom respect is due.
I don't agree. You know what? But I agree with Terry G. Terry G. I'm trying to remember his full name. Gabriel something. Yeah, I can't remember.
No. Come on.
Maybe I should just leave this set for you guys so that you can do your show.
Today's show.
I don't understand what's going on.
We promise it's going to be
let's relax, guys.
Okay.
Let's do the morning exercise. Let's go. Just breathe in and out. In and out. We know Nigeria is giving us a lot of challenges. It's tough. It's tough on you guys. It's getting worse, but we'll get by. Anyway, Terry J has a lot of songs, and I agree. And I remember some of his songs. So many.
Test the microphone.
Ginger.
Yeah, funny enough. He was an R&B artist from way back.
Wow.
You know, I used to have his album way back, and back then I used to do a little bit of promotion for him. That's backstory.
Okay, so coming back to Habibu Kikiola, the defamation suit.
Yeah.
You know, if you read the story, you will see that Said Osupa was the one who was being defamed, and I don't know, every time I want to call his name, Portable came out to apologize, but it seemed that Osupa wasn't having this apology, and then Portable then took back his apology and then said a number of unspeakable things, unprintable things about him, and now he's had to have his day in court. It's a very valid angle you've raised as to legality of his arrests. But I also want to speak to another angle, the angle of defamation. Possible is that kind of family member that you have to be, every time you see his name trending, you have to be cutting that. What has he done again? He has a loud mouth. Everybody knows that. You know, every time, it feels like everybody within Portable's circle must collect.
There's something called show business. Show business is, you act it, you have a certain type of lifestyle, but his real life business. There's no difference.
Mad business.
That's the difference between him and Terry G. Terry G would, hold bells and make noise, but in life he wasn't controversial. In his real life, his private life, but this guy just moves around like a roaring lion. Because the way he self-described himself, I'm a baboon, I live in the zoo. That's personality. We all have spirit animals. Like me, my spirit animal, I'm a bear. Gentle teddy bear, very cuddly. Portable is a baboon. He said it himself. He lives in a zoo.
So what's
you are like a mosquito.
Gbenga, after this wake-up conversation, before we get into top story, let's go outside here and fight in front of the door. But, we follow up with a Portable story. He's been, the judge had asked for 1 million naira and brought to the same sum. In fact, he, of course, would be, the matters would
He didn't meet up with the bill.
Yeah, I wanted to
conditions.
I wanted to share the exact.
I feel bad for him.
The exact
when
conditions.
they arrest him, because he has this very sober look, and then you start feeling bad.
All right.
And after 2 weeks, he's back.
He's back in.
He's back.
He's back
Absolutely.
again.
Now, just to mention that he has been asked to provide 1 million naira for bail. His arraignment was on charges including criminal defamation, intimidation, inciting public disturbance, cyber stalking. And the court on Monday ruled that his bail is conditional upon the provision of 2 sureties in like sum, one of which must either be the chairman of the Secretary of the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria,
who don't
while the other must possess a landed property within a government-reserved area backed by a valid certificate of occupancy. Portable looking humble.
The conditions are quite...
And he wore a shirt that has Bahamas on it. Is he in Bahamas?
Very stiff. But we wish Portable the best and hope that the Performing Musicians Association of Nigeria will rise up for one of their own. The question is, who will be their own here? Is this Said Oshupa or is it Portable?
The CFO for GRA property. For Portable.
You're surprised. He has fans.
I also think...
He has a lot of fans.
I also think, I'm going to go back to what Gbenga said. I think we also should look at the law. Moving a case...
Yeah, from Lagos to
Ilorin. And then,
On what grounds?
On what grounds? Is it that those who have more power have more access to the law, are favored?
Where the arrest should be made, I would assume, is where the defamation occurs.
Absolutely.
Again, and I'm glad you brought the Daily Pharaoh to me angle, because this is what Nigerians were preaching against. We're not a kidnapping enterprise.
Again, Nigerians.
There are laws.
Yes.
We're not a kidnapping enterprise.
Precedents. And it seems, like you said, the more influential you are, the more you could direct the police as to how you could make life, or even influence the magistrate to a certain extent, tough for this person that offends you, either by stringent bail conditions. We've seen it with Burna Boy. We've seen it with Portable. We've seen it with Daily Pharaoh.
So it's happening.
Justice is meant to be blind.
Precedents, like we always say here. We preach here that what you start, kind of like reminds me of Fela's, opening song. Let's start.
Yes.
What we have come here to do.
And that's
Speaking
exactly
of
what's
what
going
we have come here to do. Somebody who tried to start something but was stopped, His Excellency Peter Obi, who tried to visit the people of Benue. He tried to visit Benue State internally displaced persons to offer his condolences on the series of attacks that they've experienced. Unfortunately, according to his tweet, he explained that he had tried several times to reach the governor and his ADC, sharing his itinerary, but unfortunately, on the day they were to leave, or the day they were about to, the day before they left, they got a notice stating that visits to the internally displaced persons camp was not allowed. All right, sit here. He talked about it happening on Thursday, 10th of April, saying he planned to visit Plateau and Benue State respectively. Now, recall that he did visit Plateau State, and he gave them the sum of 7.5 million naira to help with rebuilding, and just to sort of serve as a stopgap measure for all the internally displaced persons. However, his visit to the governor of Benue State, he says, was just for courtesy, and unfortunately, the letters he sent to them showed his itinerary, and he wasn't allowed in. In fact, they had specifically said they cannot guarantee the safety of anyone who comes in without, authorized, or who hasn't been authorized to visit. He intended to visit a school being built by the bishop in Boko, a nursing school and an IDP camp, basically highlighting actions to show genuine care and welfare for his citizens and continuous show of love, care, and compassion. So many angles to this conversation. The Reverend Father, who is the governor of Benue State, first of all, from the spiritual standpoint, okay, no, spiritual should be the last. From the legal standpoint, can a governor restrict anybody's right to freedom of movement? You know, His Excellency Peter Obi should have the freedom to go to any state he wants to. He's a Nigerian citizen. So should he, does this sort of in a way impede on his right to freedom of movement is the legal angle. The political angle, however, is there an underlying motive? Now, some would argue that because of how the former governor of Rivers State, Governor Autumn, who was part of the G5, stood solidly behind His Excellency Peter Obi at the last elections, and because right now there's a rival party in power, Governor Hyacinth Ali may not want to incite the presidency or give off the impression that he's aligning himself.
You're making things too easy for opposition.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just want to follow up on something Joe said earlier on precedent. You mentioned something about should a governor have the right to prevent another Nigerian citizen from moving around?
Yeah.
I'm talking about precedent. It happened. His Excellency Governor Ododo in Kogi State, the successor of the White Lion, Yaya Bello, prevented Senator Natasha from moving, from going to a country home for Salah visits. So we've seen that precedent, but unfortunately for His Excellency Peter Obi, he didn't have helicopter to bypass that movement. So next time. And again, it's not his home, so he might want to be careful. But then again, while we're looking at the judiciary, the legal standpoint, and also looking at the fact that governors are now stopping people from coming into their state, don't forget too that another governor had recently told the FCT minister, please don't come into my state. So that's the new music now. It's a new trend now. There's a song titled "Don't Enter My State." Just like Olamide and Jazzy Diet, don't come to the mainland.
You got it. Don't come. So don't come to my state. It's the new song every governor is singing now. Once we don't want you, you don't step in. We ensure. But Natasha was able to bridge the gap and show how you can escape that song. Don't come into my state. So with
Joey, I don't think he particularly said they shouldn't come to his state. I think he was more of just saying that they should not protest in support of Nyesom Wike, because there was a body that wanted to do that mega rally in support of Nyesom Wike, and he said, you know what, this is already heating up the polity in Rivers State. Don't bring that energy.
Olive, it was a clear indication. He said, don't come to the state. He doesn't want you to be there. He said, don't come.
So how do we now draw the fine line between saying the governor is the chief security officer of the state and will be able to, because he has intelligence?
But that's what the Bayelsa State governor did.
Between security and freedom, politics and freedom of movement.
And then there's even the spiritual angle, because many would argue that this governor is also a reverend father.
Preacher.
What does the faith
and
say?
A politician.
Exactly. What does the faith say about, helping the poor? If His Excellency Peter Obi was coming into this place because he wanted to visit the IDP camp, he wanted to visit a nursing home, what does it say? The Holy Bible that the Christians follow models the life of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was somebody who visited the poor, he visited the lowly, he visited people who could not stand up for themselves, which is what I think every one of us, and it's not just yes, we know that politicians use a lot of that.
You just broke the ice now.
Yes. Because and the people who do that, right, we see them start to do that just before the election. The question is, does this person have a track record of constantly showing up where it matters and where it counts? And regardless of what the motive is, if you have the best interest of your people at heart, and I'll give you an example, it's just like me. Let's imagine I'm a mother. I cannot feed my children, but because of my ego, right? My children are having a hard time. Somebody wants to come and help, and then I say because of my ego, nobody should come and help my children. Although that's a bit of a stretch, right? I can't think of a more fitting example.
I get your analogy.
So I just think we should put ego aside.
I think it borders on sympathy.
Will it do the people good? Yes, it will do them good. How? Being able to feel like, there are people who understand our plight, who can empathize with us.
But then again, let's play devil's advocate here. The flip side of it, if it happens, if there's a breach of security and there's
something happens
His Excellency Peter Obi's convoy, you know how people say, oh, he visited an APC state.
He wasn't listening.
So,
yeah, and don't forget too, like if I like Gbenga as an APC state, you know, and we would not want to hide under the guise of either a shade or something by not agreeing with ourselves that there's a lot going on between the APC and, of course, the current, administration. Even within the APC, we're starting to see people talk with one side of their mouth or concerning what is really going on right now. But then again,
dissenting voices. Yeah.
Absolutely. But let's also talk about did you guys hear about the story of the Nigerian Bar Association told to return 300 million
and they said no.
naira, and they said no, we're not going to return that
Because they're changing venue. Look at them here. She's a member of the Nigerian.
Yes. Are you sure she's a member?
We have your time.
We have your time. Welcome. So tell us, Olive, Nigerian Bar Association were said to have received 300 million naira from the River State governor.
What proof do you
Let's
have?
just put government.
What evidence
there's proof.
do you
It's
have
there,
to
it's there, it's
support
there.
this?
Because they've responded. Now, that money they received, in clear indication, was also to see them organize
the NBA
conference in River State.
Right.
However, as we speak to you now, we can categorically tell you that they have moved the NBA conference to Enugu State, citing the unrest, which there's none, by the way, but they just seemingly or possible unrest and protest right there, River
So
State.
who's asking for the money back?
Of course, the sole administrator is saying, "Hello, I've checked my books. Hello, can we?" Let's have it. Let's bring
Well, I do not speak on behalf of the NBA. The NBA has its president and has a spokesperson. I'm sure that when we need to reach out to them, we can reach out to Afamosigwe, who is the president of the NBA, Leonard SAN, and all the other members of the NBA. However, I would.
Did you see their statement, the NBA statement? We can start that again. Let's see if we can scroll down. Okay. Currently, River State is being governed by a retired military officer, appointed as the sole administrator, who operates with a command-style approach that disregards constitutional provisions, court decisions, and pending litigation. His actions have undermined democratic institutions and processes, flouting the rule of law with impunity, though clad, I like this line, though clad in civilian attire. He governs as though the state. I mean, give it up for the lawyers. When they write, I'm not talking about you.
Very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate the applause.
But then again, let's score their actions. Gbenga, if you're going to score it from 1 to 5, do you think they did the right thing, citing everything, the reasons why they had to move?
I mean, I agree with them. They did the right thing, because if you host that conference in
a state that is
under that was constitutionally a stretch by the president to remove Governor Fubara, everyone has agreed that it's not in the Nigerian constitution. It means you're legitimizing, you're offering some type of legitimacy to the sole administration.
Bear in mind that the NBA has held. I've attended NBA conference in River State before. The NBA has held its conference in Port Harcourt. However, I do think that the NBA is a very important body, and that the words and the actions of the NBA send a strong message to the administration. So if the NBA is criticizing the actions of a particular government because they deem it to be undemocratic, it'd be like speaking from two sides of their mouth if they then end up going there to host their conference. So I applaud the NBA for being bold enough to take a stand. The argument about returning money, that one is another argument for the day.
Would you return what was given?
It was a contribution. It was a voluntary contribution to the NBA.
The money has been disbursed.
Exactly. What do you want them to collect the money for?
Logistics.
You understand?
For a conference that is happening in a few months, by now, payments have already been made.
Vendors, MCs.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move away from the NBA now and come to talk about Plateau State. Unfortunately, there have been fresh attacks in Plateau. Just when we were talking about the one in Boko's community, and it just seems like they're trying to find rhythm back again. We just have update that there is a new attack. This happened yesterday, Monday, and unfortunately, lives have been lost. And I mean, this is where we are.
This is quite unfortunate. And to make matters worse, I mean, it would appear to be soft targets, because there's no way you can militarily or police every single square inch of the Nigerian Federation. It's quite a vast territory, but there's something called effective policing and security. You could also deploy technology. And there should be early warning systems in place. But for this to happen in Plateau again, just when the blood of those that died in Bokos is yet to dry. It's quite unfortunate. And in all of this, the man who took oath to defend and protect the Nigerian people, the commander-in-chief who the box stops at his table, is in faraway France.
Oh, he's giving orders about this.
He gave orders now and said...
He's giving orders about this. He said... it's reported that President Bola Tinubu has given marching orders to Plateau State Governor Kilem Mutfwang to summon the necessary political will to resolve the crisis in the state and establish enduring peace.
I mean, this governor doesn't, he can't even command the...
I was about to ask, how much influence does
he also, in the SSA's post on X, the president said it's high time, that he said enough is enough. It's calling on all the military, everybody to just, move in and see what they can do immediately to ensure that they stop.
We've heard this in the past. And, well, there's also something called empathy. Imagine, I remember when there was a terrorist attack in France a few years ago. Francois Hollande was the president of France. So many African presidents went, they all held hands, and world leaders, they said, "Je suis Paris," if you remember. In solidarity.
This is Paris.
I mean, it was less than 30 people that died. How many Nigerians have lost their lives in the last 1 month? And our president is away on a working visit.
Just to mention the number of people that have died, this happened on Sunday night in Zike Hamlet in Kimakba community, in the Irigwe Chiefdom of Basa local government area of Plateau State, and it reports that no fewer than 52 persons were confirmed killed and property razed.
That's a lot.
So 52 lives were lost.
Added to the one that happened in Bokos, 50.
So,
about 100 and...
In the past few days, see the number of people that have lost their lives in Plateau State. And you know what's painful? We're going on like, it's business as usual. It's not,
you're not even allowed to criticize or talk about some of these issues.
Nothing.
How do you defend this?
We haven't declared a national day of mourning. I think in Nigeria, with the amount of pain that we've had to endure as a people, we deserve to have a national day of mourning. A day where people will just sit down and cry. Honestly, the problems and challenges that we've gone through, we don't understand how we are raising children that are framed by trauma. I worry about what the next generation of Nigerians will look like. Our parents went through the civil war. These ones are seeing friends, brothers, parents dying on the daily. People go to bed and don't know if they'll wake up. Because you can be in your community and they will come raise the entire community.
Yes, people have been kicked out of their ancestral homes, their farms destroyed, livelihoods, they live in IDP camps. No Nigerian deserves to live in this condition.
We're becoming desensitized to it as well. Because I know by the time you check the papers, some papers will just have it in one corner, fresh attacks in Plateau. And it's just like, life goes on as normal.
I think this calls for a state of emergency. And like many have said, this is where state of emergency comes in. We need to really tackle the insecurity in the land. But then again, that's what we're taking for Wake Up Conversations this morning. Very sad. We're going to go back to the Plateau story. We do have our reporter who's on ground. She will be joining us in the course of the program, and we'll get a feel of what really went down just yesterday, while we're here talking to Reverend Father and the likes.